Perfect, perfect, perfect. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing great, bro. I'm doing great, man. Thanks for your time also. And I'm not gonna take too much of your time. I'm just gonna make it fast as possible. So that
Yeah,
way
yeah. No,
we can get it done as quick as possible. All right.
sure, bro.
So yeah, like I told you, congratulations on your interview.
Thank you
So
so much.
basically, the plan is to just prep you up for the interview you're having tomorrow, and we're gonna do this frequently. So whenever you get like an interview, we're going to prep you more for the interview. So
Okay,
that
yeah.
way, it's not exactly the question you're gonna ask you, but like just for my experience, the kind of questions they usually ask people in the interview, right? So that way
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can prep you up for the interview. All right.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I'm gonna start with the first question. The first question I'm gonna ask you is 1 second. So you can still see me, right?
Yeah, yeah, I can see you.
Okay, okay. So tell us the first question is tell us about the time you worked in team under pressure. So tell us in a time whereby you had like a collaboration job but was still under pressure, and how did you overcome the pressure, and what was your contribution in working in a team?
I would say that when I was working in Air India as an trainee technician, I worked for line maintenance. So
Okay.
when there was a flight which was about to will be left in like an hour, and there was an issue with the flight entertainment system, we had to get the parts and we had to replace those because the flight were fully booked. So
Okay.
if we don't do it, if we had not done it, then it would have led to the loss for the airlines.
Mm,
So we worked in a team like we got the part, we ordered the part as soon as possible. It arrived in half an hour. We already took out the older part, and then it was easy for us to assemble. Like we planned it, so we got the part from the some of the location. It was delivered to us within half an hour, and it was easy for us to replace it. So some of the times I was a trainee tech, so I didn't had so much pressure because I didn't have the signing authority, because the whole pressure goes on the signing authority, right? Whoever is holding the license.
yeah.
So we are just a technicians, and we just assist it. We assist it as much as possible as
Okay.
for the work should be done.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. But the only thing I listened to the whole story. You have a really good story. The thing I noticed is you did not really highlight how you worked in a team, right? So if in case
Oh
they
yeah,
ask you a question like that, right, you talk about how the parts, how you deliver the parts, right? The way you can highlight the teamwork and collaboration and also your contribution is, let's say, you know we had a problem whereby we had like let's say an internal problem, and we had to figure out how to get the part. I contacted a specific department and to see if they
mm,
can bring the parts to our department. And a friend of mine, a team let's say a colleague of mine, went to pick up the parts. Meantime, communicating with like the AME guys that okay, the part is about to come. And I mean, you can see how there is connection, and how I visualize your part of your contribution in the team. So that's something
yeah,
you want to highlight. You want to highlight your contribution, and how did you make the job easier, and how did you make it faster. I mean, I'm more
yeah, yeah.
efficient.
I
You
got
know what
it.
I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
want to do that again? Want to do that again? So yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So describe a time you worked. Describe a time you worked in a team under pressure, and how did you guys resolve the problem?
Yeah, I had a previous experience working in Air India, sorry. Air India has a trainee technician when I just finished my education. Um, we had an issue with the flight entertainment system in one of the flight, which was about to leave in an hour. So we were not able to find the part. So I contacted one of the department in a different base, and they said that they have the part, and it was lucky that it was quite near. And I asked the other technicians to disconnect the old flight entertainment system so that it would be easier when the part arrives. We just connect it, and the flight is ready, and we can tell our AME that um, it was ready, and he can go. He did a go around. He did a check, and it was perfectly fine. The hardwares were perfectly assembled. So I think the thing uh, I ordered the part, and it was on the time, and my colleague helped me to take the older part, and the AME inspected it. So I think the teamwork helped us to get the flight on time.
Perfect. You see, that's way more better. You not
Yeah.
only describe the whole situation, but you also describe the role you played part to make the job faster. And that's something they're trying to look at. Like, okay, how can you contribute as an apprentice? Yes, you don't have experience, but we all have life qualities that we can contribute regardless of what career we or experience we had
Mm,
previously. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a pretty
yeah.
good one. So the next question I'm gonna ask, just 1 second, is so how do you handle stress situation and tight deadline?
I think stress is a part of Dirty Dozen, as we know that. Yeah. But
Hmm.
there could be two good stresses, like there could be positive stress and a negative stress. I think in a place where we're working in aviation, there should be stress, but we should know how to handle the stress. So I think for me, stress is like if you don't have stress, I'll be lazy. If there's a stress, I could work on it. I could get the stuffs. I could go to the maintenance manual. I could search on it detail. I could focus on the work more. But I don't want to keep the stress for a longer time. That could ruin our work.
Hmm.
But I think I need stress in the field like aviation to get the work done.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So you had the same problem as the last interview question I asked you. You described stress. You know, you said stress is good for aviation, for technician. Yes, I understand. I personally understand where you're coming from, but you did not answer
Yeah,
the question. I said describe the time you had your stressful situation and how did you resolve it. I said describe the time you had a personal stressful situation and how do you resolve it. So if they ask a question like this, basically what
so
you want
yeah,
to do is describe briefly describe like a situation whereby, let's say for example, you can say, one of my jobs that I had you told me you did co-op program, right, in Air India,
yeah,
training a training program. I
train
said,
tech,
yeah.
yeah,
So you can just say in a situation whereby, I was working as a training in Air India, right? And they gave me a task card to do, let's say installation of a splice for a wire, right? That was my first time doing it. The plane was about to fly 6 a.m. in the morning, and I was trying to figure it out. It was building up some stress in me, but how did I resolve it? You can now highlight the quality about yourself. I'm a good communicator. I have good communication skills. I have good collaboration skills. So you can say, because I have good collaboration skills, I have good communication skills. I went to communicate, talk to a licensed person with more experience than I did. And within a job that took me 2 hours to figure it out, took me an hour to figure it out, he explained in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes. And that was how I learned the problem. That was how I solved the problem. And I had the same job. You can actually say I had the same job 3 days ago. And it was way more easier. You know what I mean? So now you've highlighted the stress, the problem you were, right? How you solved it by communicating with someone that has more license. Because at the end of the day, right, companies don't want you, like I told you, AME is a collaboration field, right? Whereby you have to collaborate, you know? So what companies are looking for is, can they trust you with a plane? You know, they want to make money. And how do they make money is by getting the plane, flying as soon as
yeah, yeah, yeah.
possible, safely. You know what I mean? So now you've highlighted your collaboration skills, you've highlighted your communication skills, right? and you've showed them how you solved that stress, because stress is gonna happen, but how do you deal with it, right? I've been in a stressful situation whereby, I'm trying to figure out something. There's a snag on an aircraft, right? But how did I deal with it? By calling someone that has more experience than I do on that aircraft. Hey, bud, I have this problem. Do you mind come checking it out for me? He checked it out with his experience. He showed me how to do it better. The next time I do it, it's way more faster. You know what I mean? So let's do that over again. So describe
Yeah,
a
sure.
time you had a stressful situation and how did you solve it?
So when I was working in Air India as a trainee tech,
Yeah,
um, we had a check to be done when we were doing the line maintenance. That's
yeah,
like the engineer gave me like a checklist to check all the things which were based on the avionics, because I was in avionics, so all the things were in the avionics. But I found when I did the checklist, I found out that the two emergency lights, one in the bottom of the seat and one in the cab, the what we call the things we put in the cabin, like the stuffs we put up in the. I don't
yeah.
remember the thing it's exactly called. Like
Okay.
we put
The
up
whole
the
but
our baggages and all. We
luggage.
have
Okay.
emergency light up there. Yeah, the lockers they will have an emergency light. So I realized that mm, uh, if you don't have a single emergency light, it's a no-go flight. And I I was not sure like how to replace those lights. Like the emergency lights has a different part number, and I was not sure like what exactly the part number is. I went to the maintenance manual, tried to find out the part, but I got two or three different part numbers. I was not sure which part numbers bulb should I order and get it from the stores. I tried a lot because I couldn't find an AME up there. So it was a stressful situation for me because the flight was about to leave in an hour, and there was a security check which had to be done within half an hour. So I had to do my job in like 15 minutes. Like I contacted, I was sure that some of the AME will come and check my checklist. So I contacted the AME, asked him for like what part number actually I need to put in, and he told me that there's one of the colleague in the aircraft who did it earlier. So ask him, and I went to him and asked him, and he explained me like the three part numbers are not the same type for this model and this serial number aircraft. You have to search in a different maintenance manual. So you'll find out the specific part number, and that was easy thing. So that was the new thing I learned up there, and because of that colleague, I could replace the light and got the part from the store and replaced the light, because emergency lights are the no go item in the aircraft. So I had replaced it within time, and the security check was done, and the flight left in time.
Perfect. Perfect. You see, that's even more better. You did not only highlight the stressful situation, but you also highlighted how you resolve the problem, and that's something they're looking for. You know what I mean? You showed your collaboration skills, you showed your communication skills, and trust me, as a good AME, if you don't have those two skills, you're not really the top tier, and it's something I had to work on personally also too, right? So yeah, that's
Okay,
pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Let's move on to this next question. So describe a time you noticed something unsafe on the job and what did you do?
Yeah. Um, when we were doing the like a DI inspection on the
Sorry.
aircraft,
Yeah. The reason why sorry for cutting you. The reason why I'm asking you this question is because on your resume you have some type of experience, right?
yeah,
And because you already have some aviation experience. But if I'm doing an interview question, practice question with someone that does not have an experience, all these questions I would not ask them. I would not ask them. You know what I mean?
yeah, okay, yeah,
But
got it.
because there's potential for them, I don't know about the last interview you did in Quebec. What kind of questions did they ask you?
Um, they asked me about like what's your previous education and what's your experience in the aircrafts,
Okay,
and like what is it's the same question. The first question you asked about like working in a team,
okay,
and like you will be able to work for like more than 40 hours a week, like
yeah,
that
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
things. Yeah, and some of the basic questions like How will you feel that if you are given a different work than avionics, would you like to do it?
Yeah. It's
So
crazy
yeah.
because all those questions I have them on my list. Actually, I'm gonna ask you later,
Yeah,
later,
yeah, those were
later on.
similar. Like the three questions which came in now, like
Yeah.
almost uh they were the same. Like
Oh,
I remember I have an interview that had the same questions.
okay. 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 So yeah, let's continue then. So what was the question? Describe a time you noticed something unsafe, and what did you do?
Yeah, we were doing a inspection on the exterior of the aircraft. I was doing the grounding connections on 787. Like which the aircraft is composite, so we need to be bonded. So that the aircraft should be bonded to one part to the other, so that it doesn't lose the grounding capability of the aircraft and it doesn't damage the composite structure. So I was looking in the landing gear bay, and I found that there was a hydraulic leak. It was dripping down so fast. So I didn't know like people were working out there and they didn't notice it. And there was lot of hydraulic leak in the landing gear. It was dripped on the wheel wells, and I had no idea like whom to report it. So I went to one of the AMEs who was responsible for the maintenance of the aircraft, who was had the signing authority. I told him the left landing gear has a lot of hydraulic leak in it. The lines are filled with hydraulic liquid, and I think no one has noticed it. So I think it's not a good sign for the aircraft, as the aircraft is leaving in 2 hours. So I think someone might need to go and look after that. So he called one of the technicians, told him to check it, and found out that there was a leak in the hydraulic line. The hydraulic line was broken.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a good question. That's a good answer. But there's something I noticed about the question. First of all, is it's a safety question, and that's one of the reasons why I asked you. Like I said, because you have some type of previous experience, right? The first thing you answered it perfectly. You communicated with the licensed person who was in charge of the aircraft, right? But there's something
Yeah.
missing there. You know, think of the time, the period of time you walked from the aircraft to the licensed person. What could have happened during that time? Someone could have gotten hurt, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So you
Oh, yeah.
want to
I could have
first
put a play card or something.
exactly or communicate
Yeah.
to people around the
Communicate.
area.
Yeah.
Tell them, hey, don't go there. There's a leak there. Don't go there. It's
Yeah.
unsafe. And then before you go and look for talk to the team lead or the person in charge of the aircraft. You know? So
Yeah.
that's a really good safety question, and it's something they can ask you because you have some type of previous experience. But you answered it. But I just want to highlight, the only thing that was missing there was like the communication, making sure first the area is isolated, like people are not going there to prevent any type of accident. You know,
Yeah.
so that was good. That was a good one. My next question is I'm not sure if they can, but I will ask you regardless. I'm not sure if they can ask you this question. This is more for like licensed person, but I'm gonna ask you regardless. What would you do if you are unsure on how to complete a task?
Um, if I take an example, about my previous experience, um, I usually worked on the when I had worked on the line maintenance for 6 months. I used to go to the journey logbook and the crew logbook, which they had put in, and they said that the ovens are inoperative, the coffee maker is inoperative, and I had no idea. Like it was a difficult thing because every aircraft, the assembly of the things are different, and the aircraft had to be left in line maintenance. The aircraft had to be left in like half an hour, 1 hour, or something. So you have to get the part from some different aircraft or some different stores and put it in up there. But the I don't know how to disconnect the disconnect the ovens or disconnect the coffee makers from the aircraft. There was like different assemblies. that was the situation where I had to contact different peoples, different of my friends who has worked in the similar kind of aircraft, because I didn't have the time to access the maintenance manual because it was a time limited. So I would prefer to ask someone who had a better experience than rather going into the maintenance manual to look at it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, the thing is, I like about what you do is use your personal story, right? Which is good. It's good. But the only problem I think is you're not still able to highlight it in a way whereby it shows your value, right? So you
Hmm.
answered it perfectly. Perfectly use your personal story because an interview is your own personal story. I don't want you to have like a script of something like no, or you're basing your experience fluent, it's more easier to say it out, right? But in a situation like that, okay, hey, I what happens, if you are unsure about the task card, right? I've actually been in a situation like this before, whereby I was trying to replace a coffee machine. I was now unsure about the task card and I had to replace and restore the coffee machine. I know how valuable my time is in the time of the company because the more the company flies, the more we make money. And I know how valuable that is, right? So what I did was I didn't waste time. I went straight up to the licensed person, and you also want to tell them like, hey, I read my AMM on how to install it, but I was still missing some information. I didn't really understand the language the AMM was talking about, right? So because I'm still new as an apprentice. So what I did was I went to a licensed person who had more experience than I do, was in charge of that aircraft. And I told him like, hey, I've read my AMM, I've read the procedure of how to install this, but I'm not sure about these parts of installation. Do I do it like this or do I do it like that? And he showed me how to do it. And that was how I did it fast. And the next time I did it properly. You know what I mean? So
Okay, yeah.
using your personal story is really good, but you also want to show them like, hey, I have good communication skills, collaboration, I have good time management. You know what I mean? So those are the stuff they're looking for. But you had a really good answer, just to polish it up a little bit, which is
Ah, yeah,
okay. Like
sure, yeah.
I didn't the interview questions that I am right now, I didn't get there by just doing one interview. I did three interviews, four interviews. You know what I mean? So it's gonna take time, but trust me, I think you have a really good answer.
Okay,
Next
sure, yeah.
question is
I'll work on it.
yes. Next question is, have you ever had a disagreement with a team, and how did you resolve it?
Um, the first thing is disagreement comes between the people where you're working has a different perspective of executing the work. So
Yeah.
I didn't had a personal argument with the one with the seniors, but I had a argument with the guys who were of like same like I was a trainee tech and he was also a trainee tech and we were both assigned to do the work and my way of executing the work was different than what he anticipated. So I was trying to explain him like the AMM says this and you can do that. And he was like, no, bro, I had a personal experience working on the same thing. I tried to explain him that it doesn't matter. Like if you have done it earlier, it means you have done it in the right way. If you remove the part or if it's in a alignment, but it's not sure that the alignment is proper because the AMM tells different and the visual thing you look at it is like someone might have screwed it up, someone might have put the washer behind a nut or something like that. So I told him that and he was not satisfied with my thing and we had to go to the license engineer to talk about it. Like we had so he said that I had done it earlier and we did it in this procedure but the AMM has slightly states it different. So he told that always follow the maintenance manual. Whatever the work was done by the previous employee doesn't mean it's right. Don't always follow the work which was done by the previous thing or just don't always follow what assemblies were in the form. Don't always follow it. Just go to the AMM, figure it out, and complete the work.
Perfect. Perfect, man. That was perfect. I like that. I really like that. That was perfect. That was perfect. So that was perfect. Um, okay, so another question is okay. So you're currently working in this as a store person, right? Technician.
Yeah,
Why
it's
did you want to?
met.
Yeah, why did you want to leave that company?
Uh, See, my majors is avionics. I lived my 5 years. I gave my 5 years of to 4 years of education and 1 year of trainee tech experience on the field for the avionics for the aircrafts. I was working as a part time during my college just to, you know, that working in Canada as an international student, you have to pay your bills, you have to pay your rent. And I got an opportunity to work in the stores because I had a previous experience, but I don't want to stay in the stores counting the washers, counting the nuts, issuing, issuing the parts to the mechanics. That's a part of aviation, but that's not what I studied for. Like, I studied for the avionics. I studied for doing troubleshooting. I need to gain more knowledge going into the field. I need to make mistakes. I need to learn from my mistakes. Like the mistakes, not the major mistakes, but I need to learn from my personal mistakes. If I don't get enough experience now, if it takes longer time for me to get in the job, it would be an issue in the future. It would delay my getting accreditation towards the license, and
Mm,
I will not have enough experience. So I would not prefer working anywhere rather than what I have done. Like if Voyager was not hiring for me, they were not hiring as a avionics because they were full in avionics, because you know that the ratio of avionics to the maintenance is like 10 is to 2 or 10 is to 1. So they already hired someone last year, and they are not hiring anyone now. So I would rather not stay up there
okay. Yeah.
until I
Yeah.
get my job.
That's good. It's a little bit long, but you already during your conversation, you already answered the question. You know, you talked about how you went to school for it. You know, you dedicated a lot of time, 4 years of education to become an avionics technician, and you also want to further your career as an avionics technician. You don't want to work in stores for the rest of your life, right? That's perfect. That's perfect. I like that. My next question is: so what would you choose? Doing the same job every day or um doing something different every day? What would you choose and why?
I would prefer doing something every day, something different every day. I would prefer to have different challenges. I would have to prefer have more stress on me, because doing the same work will cause more mistakes than doing a different work. I think if we are comfortable in doing the same work every day, I would not see the maintenance manual. Like it's the rule that you have to whenever you do the same procedure, you have to go to the maintenance manual. If you have done it 100, 150, or 200 times, it doesn't matter. But as a human factor, you know that you do it 10 times and you are like, yeah, bro, it's fine, I can do it
Hmm.
myself.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
true.
Yeah, I would prefer to do it a different job every day. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. That was good. That was good. You know, new challenges, new experience, new learning. But don't say stress. You don't. Stress is not good. There's
Okay,
no. Yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
sure,
The
sure.
stress. The stress is a little. Yeah, that's a little too much. But just say yes. I like doing different tasks every day because that way I can increase my skills as an avionics technician. You know, new experience, new challenges, and in the future that will make me a better licensed person once I get my license because I have learned different part of the component and different part of the system about the avionics on the specific aircraft. But that was pretty good. That was a good question. That was a good answer. So my second question is, why do you want to become an avionics technician? Why did you choose avionics?
The first thing I was fascinated about aircraft from my childhood. But the reason I took the avionics was not a purpose. It was an unfortunate thing, because when I went to register for the aircraft maintenance course, the aircraft maintenance position was full. And they told me like avionics is a thing. I didn't know about avionics. So I did research about avionics. People don't know about avionics. Most of them who know about aircraft don't know about avionics. When I went in, they told me like these are the avionics is this kind of stuff. They showed me like a aircraft which was up, I think a citation, which was upgraded from the manual gauges to the uh, glass cockpit kind of thing. And they said this what avionics does. And I was like, I need to do aviation, and I can't wait for one more year to get into the maintenance. So I'll rather prefer taking avionics. So I was good in electrical. I understand electrical much better. Yeah, but I was good in hand skills, using tools and all. But yeah, let's try a different thing. So I chose avionics. I did avionics. I felt it better when I was trainee technician. It was good working in avionics. Oh, you don't make your hands greasy working in
Mhm.
avionics. So that after that, I realized like once I have done my avionics, I spent 3 years. Let's do the avionics back again in Canada. Don't have to move. I had a chance to do the maintenance, but I was like 787. I saw the aircraft 787, which was fully electrical. Like 60 to 70% of it was electrical. Actuators, flaps, everything was operated by electrical. So I was like, yeah, we have the scope. The future
Mhm.
is avionics. So let's do the avionics again.
I like that. I like that. I really like that. That was really good. But the only thing I want you to polish up a little bit is, okay, yes, you love avionics. But don't say, yeah, me, you can. It's not a big deal. But what you can just do is like, I always loved electrical from the beginning. Anything electrical, I always loved electrical. But when I got into the aircraft maintenance field, I didn't know there was a specific department for avionics. So my goal was to apply for maintenance, right, just to get into the industry. But unfortunately, I could not get the avionics because it was full. The I could not get aircraft maintenance because the admission was full, right? And but avionics, then someone told me like, hey, there's an electrical department for aircraft maintenance and you can apply to it. And no, I was surprised. I didn't know there was like a different department for avionics. And because I always loved things about avionics, that was the reason why I applied to it. Another reason why I want to become an avionic technician is my experience on the 777, the 777. I noticed how most of the systematics, everything is more avionics. And I feel like in the future, to become a really good technician, avionics technician, more aircraft are going to be more avionics system. And that
Hmm.
way will also increase my skills, increase my knowledge, and increase me as a better technician. Simple. But you answered it
Yeah,
perfectly.
okay.
You answered it perfectly also. That was a good question. But yeah, the next one I'm gonna ask you is, and trust me, this question they usually ask a lot of people. I'm pretty sure maybe they asked in your last interview, but I'm not sure. But the three interviews I did, they asked me this question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Um, I would start as a sorry, the apprentice, and in a 5 years, I would be signing off the aircraft. Like I would really have my license with me, and I should be in a ACA position in your company. Get my ACA license and my personal AME license, and I have endorsement courses on the different larger aircraft. So I would prefer to have more endorsement courses with me and working in the higher position in your own company. I think
Perfect.
I would rather get into different things, learn more things, and be a better person, be a better technician or engineer.
Perfect. Perfect. That was good. Seeing yourself in the next 5 years, getting your license and also getting your type course to create more value in the company. That was perfect. Perfect. The next question I'm gonna ask is, are you able to work different shift?
Yeah, I would not complain working in a different shift because it's aviation. So every time the aircraft is like the company has to make profit. If the aircraft is broken and you are not available to work and you are the only person who is available at the time and you say no, I think that would be not a perfect way of working in the aviation. You should be available anytime to work unless you are not well. But I think, yeah, I would be available anytime to work for the company.
So if we need it for day shifts this week and we need it for night shifts next week, is it something you are okay with? You're capable of
Yeah,
doing?
I'm okay with working on night and day shifts. It only matters is a day of transition so that I can adjust myself so that I don't make any mistakes.
Perfect.
Because
Perfect.
sleep is also a main factor affecting your work. So a day would be better from the transition from the day and the night.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, that's good. This question, they will hardly ask you this question. I don't know if it's really
Yeah, they
um
asked me this question in the back, the last question.
oh yeah? Oh okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
They asked me like, are you able to work in any of the shifts, like
Okay,
night shift or
perfect
the
then. Yeah. The next one I want to ask you, they asked me this question, and that was because I already had an apprentice. I was about to get my license. But it's okay. I don't think I'm gonna ask. Okay, let me just ask you in case I don't.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
like 70% sure they will not ask you, right? How do you marshal an aircraft into the hangar? So an aircraft is about to come in from outside the aircraft inside the hangar. How do you marshal the aircraft?
Oh, yeah. I'll go according to the procedure. Two wingmans, a tail person,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy who is uh, pulling the aircraft into the hangar. And I'll keep like a couple of peoples around the aircraft so that it doesn't make any mistakes. And I'll tell them to give a perfect signs, and and whenever there is an issue, like just contact the person or just contact me so that I can guide the person who is bringing the aircraft into the hangar.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that was good, but you're missing one person though. One more person. The brakes.
To
Someone to
wing
do the
person, yeah, the guy in the cockpit.
cockpit in the brake. Yeah, they it's hard. Maybe as an apprentice, they might not ask you this
Yeah,
question, but
and
uh,
avionics, we really don't had done the
exact
marshalling
Marsha,
because
exactly.
I had a previous experience in Air India, so I know like what you need.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't actually have the perfect knowledge about it. I have
Hmm.
seen it performing, and so that's what the idea I had.
Okay. We're almost done. One of the questions I'm gonna ask is, what are your weaknesses and your strength?
Um, my strength, I could say that I can be consistent with my work. I can perform work whenever you tell me whatever you want me to do. I can perform it. But I would say that my weaknesses are like sometimes I would be um, not so perfect in executing the work. Sometimes the attention to details, like keeping the smaller things in my mind, and if I have done the same work again and again, I would rather skip a step because I was not so clear to it or not so focusing on it. Yeah, I'm trying to work on my weakness, like making a checklist whenever I do the work. If I have done it 10 times or 15 times, it doesn't matter. I keep a checklist. Yeah, the washer is done, the nut is done, the lock wiring is done, the cannon plug is connected, the assembly has. I just check with like pushing the assembly so that it doesn't move due to the vibration, and again go to the maintenance manual and see the procedure again so that I have followed everything. And yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's related to my work. And weaknesses, I would say there's a lot of weaknesses, but I'm try to make it proper. And one thing is going on time to work. Yeah, sometimes we are lazy to going on time on work. Yeah, like we are late. I think it would be prefer if you go like 15 minutes earlier or 10 minutes earlier. Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm doing it better. Like I leave the home early to the work so that I'm not late to the work.
Okay, perfect, perfect. You isolated. You describe your weaknesses, but it's something I didn't like. Don't say going on time to work. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
don't
that's
don't
what
say
no
that.
employers want to hear. Yeah,
No, to be honest, that's not a weakness, right? It's a
yeah.
responsibility, you know.
Responsibility. Yeah.
It's a responsibility. So don't say going late to work. You isolated your weakness, which is like paying attention to details. Because sometimes you've done it a couple times. Now you can sometimes you can feel like you skip a step, but you also describe on how you solve that problem by having
Yeah.
a checklist, right? And that's something they're looking for. You know, they yes, we are not perfect as human being, but but the fact that you're able to identify a weakness and you're also creating a solution for it, that's pretty good. That's perfect. You know.
Okay.
But don't talk about time, common
Yeah,
attendance.
yeah.
No,
I understand that.
don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah.
You know, keep it simple. Hey, my strength is, you know, I have good communication skills. Like I'm able to talk to people whenever I don't understand something. My weakness is like, you know, because sometimes I feel like when I've done the job a couple times, I tend to skip a step because I've done it a couple times. I have my experience doing it, but in order to make sure the job is done safely, we're meant to follow a procedure, right? So now, how did I solve that problem? By having a checklist, so that way I can make sure I'm following the proper procedure. That's it. But
Oh
don't
yeah.
move further to like, you know, attendance that late. No, don't say that.
Okay, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Got
yeah, that's perfect. We're almost done. Blah, blah, blah. I already asked you this. Okay. This is the last question. Yeah, I will ask you. I don't think they're gonna ask you this question. It's like, what tools are you comfortable using? I don't think I'm do. I don't think there's possibility of asking your question. The last question is, what are your salary expectation as an
it.
apprentice?
As an apprentice, I would not expect more. I would go with the base pay that you're paying. Like, I'm okay with like the minimum wages the aircraft maintenance apprentices are paid, like a 21 or 22 per hour. Yeah, I wouldn't expect more than that because I need to learn more, get experience, and get a good salary. That is my thing. So I'll start from a low wage, and it would be fine for me.
That's good, but don't say I would not expect more. Say I'm. Don't say and as you don't say as an apprentice, you know I don't have that many experience, but I also see the value I can create in a company the more I start working as an apprentice. But for now, I'm comfortable starting off with something low, you know, something like 23, $22 an hour. But my priority is to focus on the value I create as an apprentice, so that way I can improve my skills and also my responsibility in the company. But don't say, you know, don't cap the pay.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Give them
Got it.
room to like give you more. You know what I mean? But still put yourself
Yeah,
a little bit low, a little bit low than what they will give you, right? So how was
yeah,
those questions? Were they helpful or were they like
yeah, yeah. Really
from the
helpful. Yeah.
Mhm.
I if I had not done this session, I would think like I would have done many mistakes in my later interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
this
the
was
last
yeah.
interview.
There, I think yeah, there would need to be someone to guide you. Like this is a
Mhm.
first job, getting an apprentice in Canada. I
Yeah.
think yeah, having an experience with someone, talking to someone who has the experience is really
Yeah.
helpful.
Hmm.
You never know what mistakes you do. Like I didn't know that I'm doing such mistakes, and yeah, I just interviewer was like, yeah, I would talk about my personal experience, but talking about my personal experience, you have to define it perfectly. Yeah, I got it
Yeah.
now. Like what the what I have to
Hmm.
improve in myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And from the last interview you did, were there something you pointed out and you see like, okay, maybe this was something I
Yeah,
said
there were a
that
lot. Yeah, there were a lot of
like
things. Yeah.
like what did you?
Like explaining my experience to them.
Okay.
I just told like what I have done, but the communication skills that needed to be executed, I communicated with these guys, working with these guys in a stressful situation. For example, the question regarding the stressful situation, I
Okay.
couldn't execute it properly. I executed the same way what I told to you. So
Mm,
I don't think that we're gonna work every time.
mhm,
That's not a
mhm.
perfect way. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like yes, most interviews you're gonna have the HR, you're gonna have the managers or team lead
Yeah.
or something, right? And for what they're looking for is as an apprentice, they know you don't have experience, right? But we all have skills we can transfer, which are transferable to different life. We are, you know what I mean? Um, what they're looking for are they comfortable? Is it someone that has the room for improvement? Is it someone they can work with? You know, in terms of is this someone that is ready to learn? You know, is this someone that shows up on time? That's
Mm,
why I say that attendance is they might actually ask you a question like, have you ever been late to work before? You can give them an honest opinion, honest answer. One time I was late, and that was because there was a snowstorm. And this is question they can actually ask you. You know, they can say, "Oh, have you ever been late before?" Don't tell them
mm.
like, no, I've never been late. No, you can just tell them,
Nah,
hey,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was late one time. My current job, I was late one time, and the reason why I was late was not it was within my it wasn't within my power. And that was because there was a snowstorm, right, and the whole street was blocked, and the whole street was blocked. I could not drive to work early. There was so many traffic and accidents, and that was the reason why I was late that day. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
those are the things they're looking for. Someone that can show up on time, someone that they're able to communicate with, someone that is eager to learn, and in the future you can get your license. And another question is, why did you choose our company? You know, they can ask you, why did you choose this company? Why do you want to work for us? Right? You know, you can be like, hey, I want to work for your company because I did my research on your company and I've seen the value you guys are creating. You guys are developing and a promising company that has a promising future. And not to talk about the stories I've heard from my colleagues, because I have a specific friend of mine that has a friend that I've worked for your company and he was telling me how the licensed people are really good people. You know, they are really ready to help you out. And that is the environment I want to be in starting off my career. I want to be in an environment whereby I'm able to learn. People are ready to teach me. People are ready to guide me through. So that way I can develop my skills as a apprentice and become a licensed person. You know, so those are questions they can ask you. But what they're looking for is just the value you can provide as a person. You know, and you that person they can trust with an aircraft that can work safely. You know, so yeah,
Yeah.
you did pretty good. You know, you did pretty good, and there's some few mistakes that I think we corrected.
Mm.
But I feel like you're ready for it tomorrow. Like I told
Oh,
you, it's okay if they don't give you the job tomorrow. It's part of life. You know, nothing is promising. We'll keep working, keep trying to get you something more and more and more and more and more, and eventually, you know, the universe is gonna bless your effort. You know, you're a really hardworking person, and I appreciate your patience and your time. You know, so we're gonna
thank
get you
you.
something. We're gonna keep
Yeah,
working,
sure.
and hopefully, we can get you something as soon as possible. All right.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time, man. Thanks a lot, eh?
No worries. Yeah, sure.
All
Thank
right,
you
bro.
so much.
All right, brother. And once you do the one for tomorrow, I can call you tomorrow also and see how we went. I know
Okay. Yeah.
the position
ACA,
was
right? Yeah.
for ACA, but if they ask you if you have a license, I don't have my license. I don't have my ACA. You know, it's okay. If they say, "Oh, sorry, we are looking for someone with ACA or license," that's fine. So,
Mm.
I'm pretty sure because on your resume you didn't say you have ACA. You didn't say you have a
Yeah, yeah.
license, right? Exactly.
Uh,
So
uh, and the summary
um
says I'm a recent graduate.
exactly, right? So you know you just say you just apply to it. You just apply to because of how good the company is. You really want to be part of the company. That's why you apply to it. You know, you
Mm.
want to be part of the company. You had good stories about the company, and you never know. Stars might align, and they might employ you. They might, actually do the interview. But if it
Yeah.
does not go as planned, it's part of life. We're gonna keep working and don't give up
Sure,
until
bro.
you get
Yeah.
to something.
Okay.
All right, brother.
No worries. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
eh?
you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye bye. Yeah. All right, guys. So if you're a recent aircraft maintenance engineer and apprentice, and you need someone to guide you through, someone to Answer your questions like this, prep you up for an interview. I'm going to start the mentorship program very soon, whereby I'm going to be having services like this. Prep you for an interview, get you a job, write your resume for you. Please not forget to just feel free to contact me on Instagram. I'm gonna drop my Instagram in the description, so that way we can talk about how I can help you out. For you guys that are new to my channel, my name is Peter. I'm a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer, and I have hundreds of videos on my channel regarding aircraft maintenance engineering. So please do not forget to feel free to check it out. All right, and I appreciate the love. For you guys that are new to my channel, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Love you guys.